right, I am Jennifer Myers-Ward. I am the CEO of a small boutique, well, boutique's a fancy word for small, I guess, agency. Started about 15 years ago. I have purposefully kept the agency small and boutique on purpose. Right after I got out of college, I worked for an ad agency, a big ad agency, and I hated it. Our clients weren't people to us. It was like dollar signs and, Jen, you have to put more hours against this account and this and that and the other. And it felt very to me, and I didn't like that at all. So I have purposefully kept ebove the way it is because I feel very passionate about hands-on and really caring about the client as a person. So.
I'm Christen Evans. I have been managing a wedding blog for the last 5 years that's in a very niche vertical. It's irreverent, the broke-ass bride, and it's also budget. So our audience is very purposefully specific. We have, a very, very, very targeted audience, and I like it that way because I know exactly who I'm working with and what I'm doing, and it's a lot more personal, and I see a lot of very large bloggers out there who are a little bit more anonymous to their audience, and I like to be as upfront as possible. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm super transparent. So we decided to have a conversation today about why we think that sometimes it can be better working with smaller agencies and smaller bloggers versus the larger ones. Sometimes smaller is better because size matters, but not in the way you think.
Okay, we're not standing the rest of this, right?
No, we're not. We can sit now. We're awkward.
All right.
Do you want to explain that?
Go ahead.
That's yours. That's yours.
No, it's next. That was our intro.
Okay.
I can't. Okay. So everybody knows that bigger is better is always the saying. So as Christen said, we're going to be giving you reasons where we think smaller is better in certain instances. And in this particular slide, I will take total credit for the snake at the bottom. I don't do snakes. Even looking at that one, not so good. So better, smaller. And, well, I live in Florida, so the top middle rings home too, because we definitely would like not to have large hurricanes happening.
My website's called Bourbon and Sparkles, so I am well acquainted with the fact that smaller bar tabs, as Mo is ringing one up, is significantly better than a larger one because that usually also means the hangover is smaller. And kind of hand in hand with that, mistakes are also usually better smaller than they are larger. I also just had a baby, so I'm fully aware that laundry piles are definitely better smaller than they are larger. So one of the reasons why I definitely prefer to work with smaller agencies over larger ones is because they're easier to reach. Communication is integral in this industry. It's a relationship-based industry. So when I'm working with a smaller agency, I am more aware of who my contact is, how I can get a hold of them, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, email, text message, not phone calls because I don't talk on the phone.
She doesn't.
Don't do that. And they'll get back to me, whether it's an individual manager all the way up to CEO. And this has come in very handy for me a couple of times where I've come up with a last minute blog post idea and I'm like, oh shit, I need to apply to a program. I hope I can get approved in time for me to publish it the next day. And so I'll apply and then I'll reach out to my manager and be like, yo, can you expedite that application a little bit? And more often than not, they're able to, and I'm able to get everything done that I need to get done. So when I find that sometimes when I'm working with larger agencies, that's not something that can happen as easily. So your lack of communication disturbs me.
And actually, I couldn't agree more with an agency working with a smaller blogger. You get direct communication. Like I literally have Kristen's home address. I kid you not. As well as text, Skype. Again, she doesn't answer the phone, so I don't bother with calling her. So because of that direct communication, you have a quicker turnaround time, which can be super important, kind of as Christen said, but one of our clients is Steiner Sports Memorabilia. So clearly we need to be able to turn on a dime when someone wins the World Series or the Super Bowl or NCAA basketball, which my Tar Heels won this year. So I need to be able to get a hold of that blogger and get things done immediately. It's very time sensitive, which, speaking of sports, you just went through something with Joe.
I did. Joe Souza?
I just Joe.
Joe from fanatics.com recently messaged me on Facebook, and this slide illustrates it, but and this is a quote from Joe: "Bloggers, even smaller bloggers, can have a great impact on an affiliate program. At Fanatics, we launched a line of fidget spinners. You know, those fidget spinners that are super popular right now. Since these have universal appeal beyond just sports fans, I reached out to a couple of blogger friends of mine, and within minutes, they had posts up relating to these products to their audiences. 3 totally different audiences, 3 totally different approaches to promoting the product. And it's true, he contacted me on Facebook, and he's like, look, we have these fidget spinners. They have a shitload of Red Sox ones. Can you just throw something up on Facebook? And I was like, yes, I can. And I did. And, you know, I had to find a good fit for it with my audience, especially with the wedding audience, but I equated it back to wedding favors and sports-themed weddings, and that was just a click that I had. And so he ended up seeing a really good turnaround as a result of being able to reach out to me directly. And then with that...
Click. So with smaller bloggers, it requires a smaller amount of budget and gives you more flexibility. One of our clients is Things Remembered, and so they wanted to do a focused wedding sort of reach out and have bloggers, you know, really work on their wedding area during wedding time. So I reached out to Christen, and she quoted me, can I tell? $350.
It's fine.
To do a post for them and to do some stuff for us, and with that, she actually said that we would get multiple mentions. It wasn't just one. So we continued down the line talking to a couple different wedding bloggers to hit different, you know, niches within the wedding market, and spoke to a couple of other slightly larger bloggers and got quotes $750, closer to $1,000 for one, and it was very specified about how long it would be and where it would be. So a smaller blogger tends to be more flexible with you. I mean,
I've even put together a giveaway for you.
I know.
And I don't even do those anymore.
I know. And we've done hybrid deals. So basically, she's flexible enough to say to me, you know what, Jen, instead of the $350, I'll do it for $200. Did I just cat out of the bag? Okay. With a bigger commission. So she's willing to work with me, which is really helpful, and it allowed us to do a really good test with Things Remembered in the wedding group.
So on that, Jen kind of took a risk on that because it was a test. I mean, it was a test. It was a new launch. It was in a network that I don't always work with. But she was able to kind of take that risk and think outside of the box. And because smaller agencies aren't always limited by the bureaucracy and the red tape that like larger corporations and agencies can be limited to, they're driven and challenged to be more motivated to come up with new strategies and new creative ways to work with us. One of the ways that I often am able to work with smaller agencies better is by getting vanity codes or exclusive discounts in order to give them better placement. We have that flexibility, which I think lends to a little bit more of a legitimate relationship for us.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, we've lost Christen now. This is her. She mentioned said baby. Here is said baby. This is Dex.
He's pretty much the cutest, right? Right?
So the relevance, besides the cutest squishy baby, with this is that the blanket that he's on, Christen every month takes a picture, you know, as most people do. The elephant blanket in this picture, actually, my team, we sent to her as a baby gift. So between that and I sent you unicorn slippers for the hospital.
Slippers, which are awesome.
So again, that to me, that just shows it's a legit relationship. We're not just business people. It goes beyond that. It's a true relationship and not just like a face-to-face business handshaking kind of politician-y feeling thing. And because of that relationship that we built, we gain favorability, excuse me, with like Christen and other smaller bloggers, whereby, for example, Dylan's Candy Bar is one of our clients as well, and they are on a network which does last click attribution.
Which
at
is
the moment.
The bane of a blogger's
I know. So
existence.
basically, so Christen writes a killer blog post, even has a coupon code. People read it, they love it, they want to buy these Dylan's Candy little favors for the wedding, and they click on it, and then they go, oh, it's human nature. Let me check coupon sites and see if I can get a better deal. Well, the minute you hit the better deal, which you're not going to get because we usually give the bloggers the exclusive one up. But anyways, once you hit that, then the last click goes to the coupon site and Christen gets robbed. So, so she does that for me, right? I mean, there's a chance she could lose money there, but because of the unicorn slippers.
And the Dex blanket.
And the blanket. She's willing to do things for me like that. Mm-hmm. So it gets me extra bonus points.
It does. Jen wins a lot. And as a result of her being able to help me out with things like the vanity codes and the more personal approach, and she works with a smaller number of accounts. She can work with me more on those kinds of things. She is also able to strategize with me better, as many of my affiliate managers who are parts of smaller agencies do. I have about 5 that I talk to super frequently, and there's at least 3 in this room right now, which is great. Hi, Jen's phone. But we're able to strategize on, if they have a new client coming in and they, need immediate placement, or I am super duper struggling on getting somebody to convert. They're able to offer strategy and direction, and help me get the creatives I need so that we can do very quick turnarounds. For instance, another one of Jen's clients had novelty socks, and I didn't really think that would connect with a bridal audience, but they had bride and groom socks, and so I was like, all right, you know what, fuck it, I'll try it, like, why not? It's fun, let's go for it. And turns out my audience loves novelty socks. Absolutely loves them. Converted the shit out of this program.
We made it to slide 6 before you started dropping the heavy stuff.
Cool, yay. That's like a new record, you guys. Seriously. So it was, it's one of those things where it's like, she gave me all of these ways to try to promote this program, and I did because we have this relationship, and it worked, which is awesome.
Yes. Also, when you have a smaller blogger, you have more captive, dedicated audience. I find sometimes when I've worked with bigger bloggers, their audience they seem more like the Wizard of Oz, right? They're a bit of a figurehead. You feel like you follow them and you respect them, but you don't necessarily feel like you would sit down and talk to them in the same kind of way as you would for smaller bloggers.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah. Well, and example, because when we were talking about this, Christen was telling me about, was it Dallas?
Yes.
She was in the airport in Dallas, and someone that had read the blog actually recognized her in the airport and came up to her and was asking.
And just started asking me all of these questions about their wedding, and I'm like, I mean, I run the blog, and they're like, yeah, you're Christen from the Broadcast Bride, right? So what can I do about this? How can I save money here? And I was like, oh, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm kind of a big deal. We kind of missed this point, but it's also really good opportunities for education and best practices. I had an affiliate manager who directed me to a plugin that I now use absolutely religiously. And I have turned other bloggers onto it, but it's one of those just things where you learn things. God, that was a bad sentence. I'm really sorry about that. Strike from the record. I'm better able to gain education as a result of these relationships and these people who have been in the industry for a long time. And then back to Jen's story about me getting recognized. Speaking of getting recognized,
all of us are in the room.
So, everybody that was on this panel.
That's a green shirt. This is blue.
I think that's a blue shirt.
Nope, that's green.
We're all looking at him so adoringly. That's my favorite part.
This is the first and only time that we look at Greg like this.
We're all like...
But so smaller agencies, when I first got started in the industry 5 years ago, smaller agencies were the first people that I met. And they are the ones that I have continued to work with because they are at these shows, because they show up to blogger-specific conferences. They're in the trenches. They're the ones who are really taking time to work with us. Speaking on panels, Greg Hoffman was that guy. Was the very first person to ask me to speak on a panel at Affiliate Summit East 14. Holy shit. And I have spoken at every summit I've attended since. I missed 2 because I was super knocked up and then super new mom. But yeah, I've spoken at every summit, and I've spoken with my affiliate managers on almost every single time. I had one solo session.
Yes.
And then they're also active in like the Performance Marketing Association. Wow, that was bad. And just writing articles, using education, being really active in the industry to make sure that things are run the way they should be,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right. And on that note, like, so Christen's saying we're all laughing because we're all on the panel. But through meeting Christen and other smaller bloggers, they all tend to have sort of a network of other like bloggers. So obviously being introduced by Christen, for example, to a handful of other wedding bloggers is easier than me, using a more cold approach, looking them up and trying to reach out to them. Christen, actually, I met Jess. Jess had a thing the other morning, actually, with a couple of people around to introduce us to some more bloggers. So having that access to additional bloggers that we can utilize for our clients is fantastic. And I find that more with the smaller bloggers. They're willing to make the introductions. Even if the larger bloggers have other people, they tend to be a little more, this is my opinion, a little more guarded and less willing to introduce you to someone else as if they should be the only person you work with. Whereas, depending on the client, if it's wedding, for example, it could be based on like military weddings or second wedding or destination. I mean, there's different focuses. So the fact that, that Christen and other smaller bloggers are so willing to open up their network is, like I said, is really great. It's very helpful.
So basically, I've got her back, and she's got mine. I mean, definitely, Jen has introduced me to a few other agencies. I know that, we have worked together on various clients, but I've also, like she said, introduced her to bloggers. But that also goes with working with somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. They know the value and they understand kind of what's at stake with working with smaller bloggers, that it's not always the easiest thing in the world, but it's worth it. It's profitable because we have the relationship. And even if I can't work with her directly, I am going to take the time to introduce her to people that I think are going to be relevant for her. Most of my affiliate managers I have been working with, so I started in the industry 5 years ago, and they are the ones that I've been working with, and they're the ones that I continue to work with on a daily basis, and more on a tighter level than the ones who are less approachable.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about introducing to bloggers. So once you meet them, if you continue the relationship while they're smaller, if they do begin to grow, you have that in. You forged that relationship. Example of that is Jessica Bishop, pointing. Met her when she still has Budget Savvy Bride. Did a lot of work with her there. And recently, she's a partial founder of the Isle Society, which is a network of like 30 or so bloggers worldwide, I think, that come together and really offer a lot of perspective. So, and they've had a lot of press, and they're doing a lot more, in that group than Jess was doing necessarily on her own. But I can still go to her, even though she's fancy now. I can still go to her.
So fancy.
I can still go to her and get what I need, and she still works with me, so she hasn't forgotten the little people yet.
Well, and one of the reasons why she works with you too, and I'm sorry, speaking for you here, Jess. One of the reasons she works for you is because you offer dedicated troubleshooting. And there have been times where I've realized that after a post has gone live, all of my links are broken, and I'm like, God, gotta fix it. And so I reach out, and it's not something where I have to wait days and lose money and leave money on the table because my links are broken. I can talk directly to my manager and be like, hey, can we get my shit fixed a little bit? And they work with me to make sure that everything is in operational order. And that as a blogger especially, you know, where we are higher in the funnel, so we tend to, you know, lose a little bit more money if it's possible for us to. It's important for us to be able to have that dedicated troubleshooting and help. So where are we at? So who are we gonna call? Jen Ward. And my smaller agencies.
With the smaller bloggers, I kind of mentioned this earlier where I said that she had put some stuff up and for the smaller budget, she was willing to put several different posts out there. With smaller bloggers, I find that bonus feeling happens frequently. So you mentioned earlier, Christen did a giveaway for Things Remembered for us, and she does not do giveaways. So again, there's the favorability.
We did them for a long time, but we found that the return wasn't great for us because people come for free product, people come for free product and don't stick around. But
then when you did the giveaway, she did tons of mentions. 3 different times, Christen put different things across all of the social channels, and we got a great response. It was really good for us.
But that's why I did it,
right?
Because it helped you,
right? And you don't get that kind of extra, you know, attention and extra placement with bigger bloggers unless you pay for it.
But it also helped me forge a better relationship with the brand.
Yeah.
Who, in return, you guys saw the photo of Dexter earlier. They reached out to me as a result of kind of all of these things that I was helping them do, and they're like, hey, we noticed that you're using one of our products in your monthly photos of your baby, and he's super cute. Can we share that photo? And I was like, yeah, your Things Remembered. You have a huge following, duh. And they did, and it grew my Instagram following, which was great. But now I have a relationship with that brand, and you know, that's priceless. That's one of those priceless moments. So on the very tail end of priceless moments, Jen's kids, who are tiny, speaking of size matters, just did something really big, and I'm gonna let you tell the story.
Yeah, this is my small business can have a huge impact. Not planned to have as big of an impact as it did. There was a lady, we live in a small town, and that wasn't just to say small. Small town, 10,000 people, and an elderly woman's house caught fire on July 4th. She's about 83. We didn't know her. She was a couple of streets over. Again, in a small town, I mean, it was big time news. We all knew about it and did not know her at all. And so she lost everything. So fast forward a few days, my daughter, Charlie, was watching kids' YouTube and saw kids doing a lemonade stand. And she said to my husband, I want to do a lemonade stand. Will you make me a lemonade stand? So we did. And they were going to do the lemonade stand, and she said, what about that lady who lost her house? Can we give money to her that we get at the lemonade stand? Tingles? I was like, yes. So my husband built the lemonade stand. That happened on a Tuesday. He built the lemonade stand Friday. All we did on Friday when we decided to do it was nothing more than just letting the kids do this and help out. We used Nextdoor. I don't know if everybody has that app or you use it. I love it. But we used that, and Facebook. My husband put a post out, hey, you know, we're raising money for the woman whose house burned down, come by. A friend of ours happens to be the chief of the fire department, which really helped. We literally had 3 fire stations worth of fire trucks up and down the street. But we had over 100 people come out and raised over $1,000. So we hit the papers. Paper caught wind of it. But at the bottom, you'll see, we didn't know her. So some people from her church came through the lemonade stand and told us where she went to church and what time she goes. So we decided to ambush her at church. So we waited, and she came in the lobby, and the church people that were there introduced us, and the kids handed over the, it's like a milk carton that had $1,000 in it. And she was extremely emotional, obviously not expecting it because she doesn't know us. So that's, you know, small business making a big difference. And yeah, I thought that was a good close.
It was. So if you guys have any questions, we'd like to open it up to Q&A. We definitely ran a little bit short. Size matters. We would love to answer questions. You can also tweet us, myself at Bourbon and Sparkle, or Jen at Jen Myers Ward. And yeah, questions? Telling us we're awesome? Anything?
We're not selling the shirts either, by the way.
No, we're not. We're keeping them. Yes? If you'll come up to the microphone, that would help a lot. Please and thank you.
Sorry.
She's like, sure. It fits the presentation perfectly.
Good morning. My question is, what was, as an affiliate manager, what was the first or the most difficult thing to make that relationship with your affiliate managers?
So I think the most difficult thing is if there's no communication. A lot of times when I'm looking for new programs to work for, like I'll just Google it. I'll Google, like blah, blah, blah affiliate program. And I will look to, apply to the program. And then if I don't ever hear from the affiliate manager, it gets me really discouraged on that program. So oftentimes I will specifically work with brands because they're managed by people who do reach out to me and do talk to me. It's just, the lack of communication is the most difficult part because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what promotions, what strategies will work for me unless I have that communication. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay, great. Yes?
I have a question for advertisers who already have huge networks that they're working with and they have a lot of affiliates. What advice do you give? Because some of them are already set and you're just walking in there, getting started, getting to know the different connections that they have.
Sure.
And what advice would you give?
I think you could take that one.
So I was waiting to, so you're saying how would you
recommend dealing with that? They already have programs that are running and they already have like over 400 affiliates in their program.
And so you're just trying to figure out how to best work with the affiliates?
Yeah, how to communicate with them. There's a lot of them.
Well, okay, gotcha. Sorry. All right. Okay. So typically, you're right. Programs can have a lot of affiliates. We tend to focus a lot of times on kind of putting them in buckets, if you will, categorizing them, whether it's like top performers or people who've signed up and never done anything, or we put them in buckets like bloggers and content. So based on what we're trying to do for the merchant or based on the specific merchant, we reach out usually in smaller pieces, like again, where if we're trying to do something like the Things Remembered giveaway and we wanted to talk to wedding bloggers, we went out specifically to them. You will have a amount of affiliates that never do anything, that just automatically sign up for everything. Sometimes we'll try to get them activated by running a promotion for 1 month or something to try to get them going, but we really focus our attention on what's best for the brand and how to work with them, whether it's like holiday season, so now you're talking to sort of gifting bloggers, right? Or, so it's really kind of, I would say brand by brand, but it's looking at your affiliates, again, kind of like in smaller chunks as who they are, not just, oh, we have 500 affiliates. We look at who they are and then communicate depending on who they are, what we need, or what's gonna work. Does that help? So,
and every kind of affiliate brings a different value to the table. Your coupon codes are obviously, or your coupon sites are going to be your closers, but your bloggers are going to be like your introducers and the ones who are really going to help drive that sale, even though they might not be able to close it. So it's a matter of looking at the relationship you want to build and what value that brings to your merchant and where. I think that's a lot where like last click attribution or leapfrog attribution, that becomes really important in helping to develop those relationships. Making sure that both your content sites and your coupon sites are getting rewarded for those sales because they both were active in that. And then just making sure that you're nurturing those relationships in the way that they need to be nurtured.
One other thing I was going to say is, and you bring up, it made me think of a point, a lot of people say, well, how many affiliates do you have? And it does go back to the quality versus quantity of always. And so like for us, for example, we hand touch every application, not just touch it. I mean, somebody applies, so we know that they're qualified. So we go in, look at the application, we run through a couple different programs to make sure they don't have negative marks if we don't know who they are, meaning they're using tags and things that they shouldn't be, or stealing commissions or whatever. But we also then go to their site, read a little bit. So we're pretty particular with letting affiliates in. So it is a little easier to manage them. So we may not have 1,000, we may only have 300, but maybe 85% of them are active or 50% of them are active. So it's kind of both. You got to catch it on the front end and then manage it on the other end.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
So I've worked a lot with smaller affiliates, and I think a lot of these advantages are true. but also the smaller affiliates tend to be less technologically savvy.
Totally.
A lot.
Totally.
They tend to be higher touch, maybe have negotiations that, don't really make much sense.
Right.
So I guess my question is, what tips and tricks would you have to mitigate the time ROI of dealing with this massive small affiliates?
So I'm finding recently that the hybrid model is really good for especially content affiliates, because we're so used to getting paid upfront for, direct buys, sponsored posts, et cetera, and we like that cash infusion. But it obviously is a better return for both the agency and the merchant if you guys can pay on the back end. So instead of, as Jen mentioned earlier, I've definitely been testing this out, and I know a couple other bloggers who have been as well, where instead of, a $350 sponsored post, you might give me $150, but you might bump up my commission. And then if I trigger X amount of sales, you give me another bonus, so that it helps me on various levels. But it's definitely, bloggers can be a little bit of a picky and slightly greedy bunch, because we put in a lot of work, and I think sometimes that work is undervalued. We might not be technologically savvy, but we're really good at generating original content and having those dedicated audiences. So there is a value there. It's just a matter of figuring out the best model for both you and the affiliate, definitely, as I said, the hybrid model has been working really well for us.
I don't have a silver bullet for you, but I wish I did. But we are a smaller agency, like I said, and we do spend a lot of time talking to bloggers that may not even know about affiliates. So to your point, not even the technical part, but just they're a perfect fit. They've got the best content, and they just don't know about affiliate marketing. They're just blogging out of passion or whatever. So we have done, I can tell you, quite a bit of hand-holding. That does take time, but again, I think it pays off. We don't hold the hand of somebody with 2 followers. When I say small blogger, obviously, there's the size of their following, but the other thing I think that gets overlooked sometimes is the engagement factor, right? Again, it's that quality quantity, right? You could have tons of followers, but if only a third of them are engaged, Christen may have half that many followers, but 3 times as many are engaged. So it's kind of figuring out how to use that time. But we did a lot of that hand-holding. Steiner Sports Memorabilia is one of our clients. And so there's tons of sports bloggers out there. They don't really know anything about affiliate, so there was a lot of hand-holding. But they are our most dedicated affiliates now. And they have good followings. They just didn't really know what to do. But like we have a guy, a Yankee blogger, and he's got a ton of followers, and he knew nothing about affiliate. And we literally introduced him to it on the phone, telling him how to set up his account and what to do and how to pull links.
You should have just sent him to me.
And he, okay, no, but now like I said, he's so dedicated to us because we introduced him to us that he exclusively uses Steiner for all his stuff. There's sports member, but there's other companies. He does not work with them, not because he just dislikes them or anything, but he realizes what we did and the time we took. So sometimes it pays off, but it is a judgment call. It is.
So I'm not plugging myself, but that's a lot of what I have learned to do is introduce bloggers into the world of affiliate marketing and educating them on that. And that's something I've been doing for the last couple of years, because I realized that there's this huge gap and it needed to be bridged. And so I was like, well, I'll do that. Why not? And I work with some people and it clicks, and there are some people that I have been working with for a couple years and I'm still holding their hand and I'm like, I just need you to get it. I just need you to get it. But it's an education process, and it's an ongoing education process, especially because it's an ever-evolving industry, but it's also such a relationship-based industry that you have to keep that door of communication open, and that nurturing those relationships helps to grow for both you and the affiliate.
Does that help?
Yeah, I guess. Do you have any resources or guides that maybe you send some of these smaller ones to say, hey, read this and then get back to me?
Yeah, my blog. No, there's obviously my blog is going to be my first resource, but we mentioned the PMA. They have some good information about that.
Yeah, and I'm not plugging any particular network, but ShareSale we work with, and a lot of the bloggers do because they have this attribution where you
they're the most
know.
blogger-friendly network.
Yeah.
They're
Sean's Extra Money Answer.
yeah, actually, Sean Collins' book,
Yep.
Extra Money Answer, is a really
That's
good one.
ShareSale has a lot of, I was going to say,
Yeah.
they have a lot of information on there.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do. It has like all the steps of what to do, how to do it. There's video tutorials. It's very kind of easy to read. It's not techie, and it's not really, I think it's not over people's heads necessarily. I've used it before, or I pulled things from there before.
And there's some really good articles on practical e-commerce as well. I know that Greg just wrote one about affiliate marketing isn't a silver bullet, and it's good. It's all about managing your expectations and your merchants' expectations in order to build those relationships.
Yes, that's my job, managing expectations.
Yes. So yeah, and I mean, affiliates' expectations totally need to be managed. Like, we want all the money and we want it right now, because don't we all? But you know, it's definitely about being realistic and explaining how, you know, the whole process works.
On both sides of it, because
Yeah,
keeping
totally.
the affiliates, in check. You're not going to make $1 million. Let's just calm down. But then the merchants on the other side, same thing. They think, affiliate marketing, and I always use the analogy of a snowball. Like when you're starting a program, you're pushing it along. Sometimes it gains steam quickly, right? Depends on the snow. And sometimes it takes a little longer to get going. I think the problem is that with things like PPC, people are so used to the instant gratification situations that they don't understand that it's a relationship based. So you're dealing with people. Like if you and I after this are trying to connect, it may take us a day to catch up by phone. I mean, it just takes time. So you have to manage the expectations of the merchant. They think it's an instantaneous thing. So sometimes we do a lot of managing of expectations. So does that help? Yeah.
So for influencers, I know they have a hard time keeping people on the page and not going to loyalty sites to get new deals. How would you suggest that they keep their customers on the page, keep them engaged enough to close the deal?
Well, what do you do? But yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there's going to be two different sides to this answer.
Well,
but you go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, actually, again, ShareSale happens to be one of the networks that allows you to, so you can answer how you keep them there, because I don't have I'm not the affiliate, but I'll tell you on our side how we attempt to protect our affiliates so that doesn't happen. Two things. One is ShareSale has so it's a funnel, it's called Leapfrog, but you can set up touch points and commissions all the way through the sales process. So the last click doesn't always get it. You can say if a blogger was the first click, say it's 10% commission, we'll give 8% to the blogger and 2% to the coupon site. I'm trying to think. And then besides the Leapfrog.
There's the vanity code.
That's it, the exclusive code. That's what I was going to say.
Leapfrog.
Like. The other thing you can do on some of the networks is it's called forced exclusivity, because the term that's used. And what that just means is that when you give out a code, like if I give Christen Bourbon 25.
Verbal 25.
That was bourbon and sparkle in one word. Anyways, Bourbon 25 for 25% off. Even if Retail Me Not, I'm just using them as an example because they always do this.
Because it's an easy example.
Even if they take the code, for example, and try to put it on their site, it's assigned in our system to Christen. So thank you, Retail Me Not. Push it all you want.
Because I'm getting all of that money. And, that's because that's my own vanity code, then that is going to help me out, even though that coupon site might be trying to, take the money. It's not necessarily working.
But what do you do to keep them? Because I don't know. I'm not a blogger. I don't know.
So there's
to keep them there.
To keep them on the site, that all kind of goes into the content aspect of it. One of the things is just making sure affiliate links open in a new window, so that they would actually, or a new tab, so that they would actually have to open a new tab or click over to that tab to go to the site, but my site's still open, so they aren't just leaving me right away to never return. And then a lot of internal linking, linking back to my own blog posts, which is just natural SEO anyway, but just making sure that I have my game on point as far as that goes, and that my content's good enough for them to be like, oh, I want to click here, here, and here, and here, and here. So, it's constant work of maintaining my own stuff while also making sure that when people are clicking over through my affiliate links, they're doing so in a way that's not going to take them away from my site.
And I know, like, so you're saying, you know, also like with coupon, how do you keep them to go from you just straight to the purchase and not jump out anywhere else? Because I've seen you do this before, where like we give you an exclusive, well, you have to work hand in hand, right? So I get an exclusive code for her. When I say exclusive, so say it's like best of web, right? So instead of 25% off, maybe Christen for 2 days only has 26% off. But I've seen you promote that within your text though, like throughout there, you know, because you're one of my readers, we have, you know, this exclusive code you can find nowhere else, good for 2 days, you know, shop
And then I
now or
promote
whatever.
the hell out of that on social media. You know, just like click over to this blog post to grab the exclusive BAB discount or whatever.
Right. Just letting them know that
yeah.
they don't need to go somewhere else. This
Because
is the
they got
best you
me.
got, you know, or, you know, but it's human nature. It's so hard because I'm so guilty of it. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I have to. But, you know, it's just how we're trained to shop on the internet. It's got to be find a deal. I mean, it's easy to do. I mean, back in the day, you had to walk around the mall and check into stores and see who was having a sale or look at a sales flyer.
Blog readers love anything that's exclusive to them. So definitely using that kind of terminology is going to make them feel a lot more special, and that's going to help keep them engaged and
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, you're welcome.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
I just started doing affiliate marketing for a luxury sunglass company.
For example, Exhibit A.
And, you know, we don't typically like to give coupon codes out anywhere. You know, we have channel, we, you know, sell to retailers, and we want to have, you know, like an online code spread out. You know, everyone will sort of start to complain about that. How do you manage that? You know, obviously coupons are going to drive traffic, they're going to drive the conversions, but how do you delicately sort of do that dance between not discounting but offering the incentive?
Right. I mean, two options. One could even be gift with purchase, right? Like a free sunglass case. I mean, they're still paying the same amount. It's finding adding value. So either that or, for example, I find, I worked with Hoffman Slimmer for a while, and they did not. I mean, coupon was like, so same kind of thing. But they were always offering on their site, it was like free shipping over $75 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anything that you're already offering, it's just,
Also free shipping.
say, utilize what you're doing anyway, just put it out there, right? Because that's still a coupon. If you have a sales section, again, it's not a coupon, but you can still leverage the same, you're getting traffic and you're getting the benefits of the coupon site without having to, you know, tick off your retailers.
I was thinking about like putting all of our closeout sunglasses into a separate landing page.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And having that be like a unique link
Yes.
that I send all my affiliates to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that definitely works. And then also just making sure that you're sending out newsletters and, you know, it's on your social media that you've got this deal going on for your affiliates. Like, you know, build your tribe, build your tribe of affiliates and, make sure that you're communicating with them about especially stuff like that. Like, hey, you know, we have these really great closeout. Make sure that you're promoting them. Here's our top 5 bestsellers out of these closeouts.
Yeah, and like, if you go to the page, you know they're on sale, right? So let's just say that at least one pair is 50% off original price. So that could be your coupon, you know, styles up to 50%, but it's a specific, I mean, everyone does that. Merchants do it all the time that don't want a coupon.
Yeah.
So again, using things that you're already doing, just shout about them, put them out there, and then the sales section and kind of, you know, how, you know, marketing that as well.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so.
Because I'm sort of new to it, and so I'm going to
Right.
be reaching out to bloggers. So I have a couple of questions, actually. One for you, and that is, how do you narrow down on bloggers to contact? Obviously, you use the networks and see who's in the network.
Right, right.
But also, do you organically search and get a feel?
You can do that. We actually subscribe to a service where we can look up. It just helps because this is what we have to do all day.
Yeah.
It helps simplify the Google, and I can tell you that offline or whatever. But they basically you go in and you can put in a competitor or specific keywords, geographic, any of that, and then it lists out the influencers, and then it shows you some may just only be Facebook. I mean, they tell you which social media, they let you know which, how many followers they have. Like I said, if you want to geographically target, but it's kind of, I mean, in this particular tool, these influencers typically are already affiliates. So that goes back to the guy behind you's question. Has to do with, it's a judgment call. You kind of have to look and see, you know, who's going to be the best fit you feel. Obviously, if they're already an affiliate, just not working with you, that's a no-brainer. I mean, if they're working with like competitors, reaching out to them and, offering to send a pair of sunglasses or whatever, or doing a giveaway or something like that, or even like a commission bump. If you can do that sometimes, instead of like paying, you can say, we'll give you an extra 3% commission on every sale.
Yeah.
So it's not, again, it's not a silver bullet answer on that's how I do it,
Yeah.
but who to contact. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day.
Someone said to me that I'm going to be fighting an uphill battle with the Amazon program.
That's
and
not
how-
necessarily true, because Amazon's
the-
cookie is, for bloggers especially and for influencers, Amazon's cookie length is not very attractive. So if you can offer something better than that, where you're definitely seeing a better return day.
Are they like 1% and like? Or it
Yeah.
depends.
So it's
Yeah.
a session cookie,
Yeah,
which is
that's it. So
and
nobody
especially
wants that.
like bridal, like we don't have impulse buyers. We need a long cookie length in order to make it work. So, being able to offer that kind of, extra incentive of like, hey, you're going to get more time, you're going to get maybe more commission, or you're going to get, just more information on being able to offer creatives that are going to work for their sites. So, like lay flats or lifestyle photos instead of just like banners and, things that don't work anymore. But more readers for bloggers are clicking on images than they are on banners, of course. So text links and images are what's working for us. If you can help offer those kinds of creatives that are working, you're going to have a direct advantage.
It's not going to be as bad as you think. I mean, Greg, we run, it's okay, there's hope. But I mean, we run programs, I mean, we're against Amazon all the time. I mean, we even have clients who have stuff on Amazon, so I'm fighting them and like, wait a minute, it's doable, like Christen said. And that's that relationship thing. I mean, I feel like if you walk out of here with anything, it's relationships.
Yeah.
That, like Christen could probably get, well, obviously it's not going to be beneficial because I'm going to give her, 15, 20% commission. They're going to give her 1% or whatever. But, just because of the relationship we have, even if the product is on Amazon, she better not.
I wouldn't. No, I mean, and I'm kind of notorious for saying I play favorites, and I do. I absolutely play favorites. I have my favorite affiliate managers that I work with. I have my favorite agencies, and I have my favorite brands, and they are going to be the ones that I always go to first about anything before I go to Amazon, before I go to another network that I absolutely cannot stand, which there's a few of them.
No names.
No names, but there are a few that I like. I only work with them if I absolutely have to, and that's like super like, ugh. And I complain about it the whole time. But yeah, I play favorites because it's a.
Open to incoming affiliate managers. I mean, because obviously.
Oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm gonna
No,
start
I mean I will give anybody one chance or
you
two.
have an agency come on board, but right now it's just going to be me, and obviously you have 5 managers you work with, and I'm not one of them. So what if I reach
You're in, you're here.
What's a great tactic for me to
Reach out.
So definitely like spend a little
Yeah.
bit of time on my site, spend a little bit of time on my social media, refer to me directly, like refer to me by name and not just like, hey, blog owner, which I see so frequently. I mean, it's literally the equation or the equal to like, hey, your name here. Hey, blog owner, or, we get super generic. I really like what you did on insert link here. Refer to a specific blog post where you're like, that's awesome. This is super relevant. Yeah. I mean, it's a relationship-based industry. Forge that relationship. It takes time, obviously, like it's not going to be overnight, but do it piece by piece, do it little by little.
sharing blogger content on our own social.
Yeah, awesome.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
And because that's one thing that a lot of definitely larger agencies don't do is reshare their shit from their bloggers. And we love that. I mean, it's like ego stroking for us. So, definitely work with your bloggers, share what they're doing, engage with them on social media, refer to them by name and individually, and that definitely helps a lot to build those relationships.
And we've had some luck, basically going out and beyond the blog, I call it, is looking at their Twitter. Follow them on Twitter. follow them on Instagram, follow them, like, and you could start
Instagram
conversations
especially,
right
yeah.
there, right in the, set up the page and stuff. And we've had really great luck with that because you start having a conversation with them before you're asking them for something.
Mm-hmm.
You're making comments about it, you're interacting. That's a really good way because then they might follow you back. And then when you reach out, you're like, oh, when we talked the other day, you've already started a relationship without being in the inbox as, blog owner.
It's personalized. It becomes a personal, a
You're
one-on-one.
investing. You're investing time in them, and that means a lot.
That means that we'll invest in you as well.
Right.
And that's everything. So,
It's out.
yes.
I have a question. If you can give me some tips. Just 10% of our affiliates work with any content, and there are ones that are giving us sales. But it's really hard to push them to work more or to continue the line of working with us because they have great just 2 months or just 1 week, and then they never come back. Or how can we?
Just
how can I
keep talking to them. Keep talking to them. So there have definitely been there have definitely been merchants that have been an instant hit for me, and there have been merchants that have taken me 2 years to convert. But I will keep trying as long as I know that my affiliate manager gives a shit about me. It goes back to the relationship. Just keep trying, keep strategizing, try different things, try maybe an only social media stuff, or try, just Instagram, try only this tactic, only that tactic, try them all together. Just keep trying, but, work with them. Work with, make sure that it's a good investment of their time as well. And just open the lines of communication, keep them open.
Nag them. Nag the heck out of them.
It works.
Actually, you can send chocolate too. I have sent gifts. I am not afraid.
Yeah. And bribe us. We'll take bribes. It's fine. Whatever.
Kristen's like, yeah.
I'm speaking for an entire industry. Oh, we'll take bribes.
But it's just keeping that relationship because just like you said, it's like you're like, why don't they keep going? They might be like, well, she reached out once and she's forgotten me. She's moved on. So it's that two-way street,
I've had so many affiliate managers that I don't really work with ask that of me. I do it for them, and then they are nowhere to be seen. And especially if it doesn't perform the first time, then they're just kind of like, they give me the middle finger, and of course I don't want to work with you again. Like, no, you can turn around and be like, so that didn't work. Let's try this instead, or well, how do you feel that went? Like maybe you saw a lot of people who reacted on Facebook or reached a lot of people on Facebook, but for some reason it didn't convert. Let's try a different strategy, because that happens. Like I will see something drive a ton of clicks and not convert at all. And I feel like at that point it might be on the merchant end, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's, just something didn't click. So let's try a new strategy.
Yeah, you just have to talk about it. I mean, and talk about it after the post or whatever, the blog, instead of just, it looks good on your side. I mean, follow up, hey, how did you feel that went? Or what would have been better? Or do you think it was a product we should have picked something different? Just to kind of close that out and then keep in touch. I mean, that's what we typically do.
There's also like a certain point that we cannot, they're sometimes asking for something that we as a merchant cannot give.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's like, how can...
So figure out what you can give and what will work for them. Everybody has their meeting point. Everybody, like, you might be able to do a commission bump. You might be able to do bonuses after the fact, like after they've triggered 5 sales. You can, do a bonus, and then you can do another bonus at 10 sales. Something where it is a little bit better return for the merchant on the back end. Because, that's totally understandable. It's business, but it has to be an investment of our time too. It's a lot of work putting together a blog post. It's not like we're just like, publish. There's editing, there's formatting, there's, making sure that we put everything out on social media, that all of our links are correct. There's a lot more work that goes into creating original content and doing it on a regular basis than people sometimes give us credit for. There's a couple bloggers in this room who will tell you that it's hard as fuck sometimes. So we need our managers to understand that it takes work from us too. We just all need to work together.
Fight it out. No.
You gotta duke it out.
All right. What do you recommend to keep the conversation going? Sometimes, you don't have any optimization opportunities at the moment, but you still want to keep the conversation going.
So just, pretty much literally become friends with them. I mean,
will
yeah.
follow their blog or something or whatever it is, or
Yeah.
their Twitter account when you don't necessarily need something, and just say, oh my God, I love that, or
Yep.
just keep going. You know
Keep
what I mean?
engaging. Just keep engaging.
And I know it takes time. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the thing I love the most about it is it's people and people, and not just in this day and age of technology. As I sit here in like e-commerce, I'm going to say this. You feel like you lose the personal. I still write handwritten notes to people after I meet them sometimes. So it's something that simple. Or if you see their brand in the news, or I mean, you don't have to be like in their face every day going, hey, I'm still here, you know.
Keep them on your
But
radar.
just keep you on theirs and them on yours, and it's just a respect factor, so that you don't go, radio silent for 6 months, and then you're like, hey, I really need this.
Yeah, and be authentic about it, because, I mean, bullshit's pretty clear sometimes. So just, engage in an authentic way and make sure that, you're just doing what you can and they're doing what they can. And, I mean, if they cold shoulder you, then they're an asshole and you don't want to work with them anyway.
So there, you tell them. Christen said.
You can quote me on that. I don't care. You had a question as well.
Yeah, just so in my budget, I didn't necessarily plan for the sponsored post costs
Sure.
that are blended with the commissions.
Sure.
How would you advise on that budget?
I'm going to let
Is
you
it
take
necessary?
Well, you're going to counter me, possibly.
Yeah, I'm interested in-
But you start, because you're the one who works
You don't
with
listen to
it.
me. So, no, I'm saying don't listen to me right now. So, with us, we have several merchants. I would say 75% of our merchants, at least, don't have budget. They're not. They're like, they look at me and they're like, Jen, this is affiliate. This is for performance. I'm not giving you any money. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So for us, it's getting creative with the blogger or the content partner and saying something like, all right, 3% commission bump, because it really is not costing you anything unless it works, and that puts you guys together to work harder. Maybe it's some product that you can give. I was going to say for a giveaway, but you will kill me.
I mean, it's fine. Plenty of other people do giveaways.
But no,
just
I mean,
hate them.
providing product, or, even gifting them product for it, thanks, or, you know what I mean, like outside of the budget. You can get creative with it. You really can. You can negotiate, you can get creative. I'm trying to think, like the hybrid idea. I know you said you didn't have budget, but what if, let's just say.
What if it was like a back-end bonus, like I mentioned earlier, if
On
it's
the other,
triggered after
yes.
X amount of sales, you can have however much bonus. You guys will
Yes, way back there.
Just, I heard quite a few sort of tips and guidance on how to optimize campaigns, and some of the questions that the merchants are asking. I've had about 7 years experience of an OPM in the UK, and I can resonate with a lot of what's being said.
I'm
I've
being
just recently
told-
left. I'm not looking to pitch services, because I'm not there anymore. But things like, for example, looking at specific products, and those that are very, very high margin items that you can afford to give more of a coupon on, then you can work with high volume sites that can give you that exposure and still not to hurt your margins as much as other product lines. The other thing as well, I found with bloggers in particular, if you're strategy planning with a blogger, you get them to actually write what they're going to do for your program, and then you put them on and give them a little bit of a budget to try something out with. You measure the before, you measure the after, and that usually presents a business case to the senior owners internally as to why you should invest more with them. Just thought, it's a good point to add in.
That's
All right,
good.
yeah,
If
thank
it
you
works
so
in
much.
the UK, it'll probably work in the States.
I was in the UK for 4 years.
Okay, so that's time, but Jen and I will be around.
We'll be here for a few minutes for sure.
For a few minutes, but we'll also be around. You guys can tweet us. Again,
Yeah.
our Twitter handles are up there.
I have cards if anybody
Or,
wants
just reach out to us and, let's nurture those relationships and stuff.
If anybody wants a card, I have cards too.
Thank you guys for coming. This was fun.
Thank you.
Yay.